So hi and welcome to today's video. So today I'm going to be tackling this pretty filthy Renault Scenic, which has acquired 6 months of winter grime, and I'm going to be showing you quite a few different products and sort of process in this video. But I was very kindly sent some products by Solution 61, so I've sent a shampoo, a TFR to start with, and also a drying aid, which I'm going to be showing you in a bit of detail in this video and kind of doing the review as we go along. I'm also going to be showing you a ceramic wax at some point in the future when I clean someone else's car, because my family are definitely asking for their cars to look a little bit nicer for summer, so I'm going to have quite a few of these to clean at some point. So of course, starting off, how I start off every one of my car cleans, and that is just by trying to remove as much of the kind of stuck on dirt as possible before I continued with the rest of the pre-wash. So starting off with the first product from Solution 61, and that is their TFR Prewash. So it is slightly confusing, if I'm honest. It's described as a non-caustic TFR and wax, and the wax bit does throw me a little bit because with most pre-wash products that's not something you really would expect to see, but I'm just treating this as a sort of pre-wash product that you dilute and spray on. So it recommends sort of a 1 in 10 dilution ratio. So I went for 50ml into 450ml of water. So working out at that is to make a sort of 500ml mix of that is £1.60. So you're getting quite a lot out of the product that starts at £8 just for that 500ml bottle. So it does say to basically apply it to the entire car. So that includes the wheels, so that's what I did. And to let it dwell for a few minutes before rinsing it off thoroughly with a pressure washer. So you can see here, that's what I did, sped it up. You can see it's coming off quite nicely. It wasn't really quite sort of any difficult to remove. So being a non-caustic TFR, that is definitely something to note. Normally when I see the word TFR I get a little bit scared, because it does generally mean that they are caustic, but with this one it isn't, so sort of can treat it as any other pre-wash. But yeah, being quite a strong one, I imagine it is quite alkaline. Not sure the pH exactly, but being a fairly strong pre-wash, you of course do want to spend a little bit of time extra rinsing this down to make sure you've got all the rest off. So here you can see when I dried the car, so I just let it air dry, what we were dealing with, and there was some level of traffic foam left, but nothing too bad to be honest. So then I moved on to cleaning the wheels, so I used Garage Therapy wheel shampoo and Autobead alloy cleaner. So the wheel shampoo I effectively used around 5ml into about 5 litres of water, and then the Autobead I used neat. So I sprayed some of that non-caustic traffic film remover from Solution 61 onto the tyres to give them a scrub. So I did that as well as using some of the Garage Therapy wheel shampoo to give it a little bit more lubrication. And then also I applied this Autobead all over the alloys before working that in using a microfiber wash mitt, so just one of these cheap noodle mitts I find quite good to get the bulk of this dirt off. It did seem to be doing quite a good job, to be honest. I didn't really want to reach for a fallout remover if I didn't have to, so this did a good job in kind of place of that, so I was pretty happy with the results there in combination with the wheel shampoo. So once I'd used the microfiber wash mitt, I then went in with a soft brush. This is a hog's hair brush, but it is quite a soft one, so I worked into all the kind of corners and bits that the mitt couldn't really reach on its own, just to get them as clean as possible. Now there was a little bit of baked on brake dust that is going to require a little bit more sort of force to remove, an iron fallout remover and potentially claying, but I just wanted to get this car up to scratch really. The owner would not be able to tell the difference whatsoever. They can only really see clean or dirty car, and even then it's touch and go whether they notice that. So I just wanted to get it to a decent standard that I was happy with, and I managed to achieve that using this. So I also used a barrel brush on all the wheels, so this is one by ACHQ, and this is sort of that bristle nylon style one, so it's good for situations like this when you're dealing with something that just really hasn't been looked after that well, and there is a lot of kind of stubborn dirt and brake dust in there. So I also wanted to use a snow foam just to see if I could get any more of the traffic film off. This is built Hamber touchless at a 4% panel impact ratio, and sort of spoiler alert, it didn't really do much extra to get rid of any of that traffic film that was left by the TFR of Solution 61. It did seem that a lot of the traffic film that was still remaining on the car was pretty stubborn and was effectively glued on there since winter, so couldn't have too much more success at removing any of the sort of stuck on dirt. But it did make me feel a little bit better. I always feel a bit odd if I don't snow foam the car. I know some people just apply a sort of citrus pre-wash, don't snow foam, some just snow foam and don't apply citrus pre-wash. Obviously a lot of different approaches you can take, but for me I just feel odd if I don't apply snow foam, so that is why I sort of continued with this step here. It was a reasonably warm day when I was filming this video, so I didn't let it dwell for too long, around sort of 4 minutes I think it was, by the time that I rinsed it off. So if you haven't seen my review of Built Hamber Touchless and you're wondering what it's like in comparison to Built Hamber Auto Foam, which I know is a question that a lot of people are asking, then I'll leave a link in the description and I'll pop a card on screen as well, so you can see my sort of in-depth comparison of those two products. So once I was done with the pre-wash and the wheels, I then moved on to the shampoo. So this is the one by Solution 61 and it's called Cherry Suds, and it does smell very, very nice. So it recommends 20ml into 15 to 20 litres of water, so that's what I went for. Could probably knock it back slightly. The dilution ratio did seem pretty conservative. When I sort of foamed it up using the pressure washer, it did foam up very, very nicely. It's quite a thick shampoo when you actually pour it in. As you can see here, it does foam up really, really nicely. I think the Cherry Suds name is quite an accurate one for this one. So I really did quite enjoy using this shampoo. What I did notice about it is it did have quite a good level of slickness and suds, which is a balance that some shampoos don't have for me personally, but this one definitely did. The scent I would have liked to be a touch stronger. The cherry scent in the kind of bottle was really, really nice, and it didn't translate quite as much as I would have liked it to, but being very picky here, a lot of shampoos don't even have a scent whatsoever, so I appreciate that they've gone to the effort of adding one. So as I've said, it recommends using 20ml of this product, so it's £8 for 500ml of this, which works out as around 32p per wash. I do reckon you could knock that back slightly as well to get a little bit of a better dilution ratio, so I think it's quite an economical one to use. And one thing I noticed as well was that the stability of it was really good, so you can see me washing the entire car here, and I'm showing most of the clips from the process. And the suds really didn't die in the bucket, so I'll show you a shot of that once I'm kind of done with the rest of the wash process, but it didn't die and it didn't need to be sort of revived with a pressure washer like a lot of them do, so I appreciated that the stability of it was very good. I also went in with a brush and sort of topped it up with that TFR that I just had already mixed up in the spray bottle, and just worked in some of the badges that had got a little bit of ingrained kind of dirt and grime. I also used a wheelbarrow brush on this front grille, which was a little bit sort of prone to kind of getting a bit of mould and algae. I also rinsed away really nicely, so didn't kind of linger on the paint surface, wasn't a pain to sort of rinse away, so I was happy with that process as well. So now onto the final product from Solution 61, and that is the Easy Bead Wax Drying Aid. So it's similar to a spray and rinse product, but slightly different. So it recommends to mix it up in a bottle basically, and you would add 200ml of the product to 300ml of water. Now I mixed up less than that, so 100ml of the product and 150ml of water, and went over the entire car, sort of section at a time. So it says to apply it and then leave it for a minute before rinsing off. But when you actually spray it on, you can kind of see the reaction happening. So I'm not sure whether it need a full minute, but I did, as the instructions said, so I wanted to get the best out of the product. So here you can see when it's rinsed off, it did have quite a good reaction. I've seen spray and rinse sealants that do tend to be a little bit more reactive than this. But do keep in mind that there is no protection on the paint surface whatsoever, and it hasn't had a proper decon or anything like that. So I was happy with this level of performance. I think that it would be a good product to give a little bit of a boost to the finish and kind of top up existing protection, make drying a little bit easier as it says. So to kind of make up this sort of 250ml that I made up, I didn't use the whole amount, but that would cost around £1.20 based on an £8 bottle, 500ml. Again, like I said, you don't really need the whole amount, so I think it's quite an economical one to use as well. And it definitely did what it said on the tin here, so as I'm drying the car, you see that a lot of the water has disappeared, so made drying a lot quicker, and just kind of dabbed it over using a microfiber towel, and it was left looking pretty good at this stage. It does claim to have around 2 to 4 weeks of protection, so it's not something you would use as kind of long-term protection, it's something you would use more as a maintenance product. So I did want to apply a little bit more protection, as I don't really plan on cleaning this car that soon, as the owner's probably not going to think it looks dirty for another few months at least. So I went for Bouncer's Wax Done and Dusted SI edition, as it's quite a quick one, an easy one to use. So what I did notice is even when applying it, there was quite a slick finish already, which I was very surprised at considering the lack of care this car has been given. But it did sort of speak to the finish that the drying aid had left behind. So with this one, what I did is just sprayed it on, a couple of sprays per panel, wiped it over using a microfiber towel, flipped it and buffed it off. It's one that doesn't really leave much of a residue behind, so really quick to go over the entire car, and adds a little bit more protection than just the drying aid itself. So that claims a little bit longer, so I just wanted to add that as well. So now on to the finishing touches. So for this, I started with the tyres. So I was using this one by Detailik, which is called Verve, and it's quite a shiny tyre gel, not the shiniest in the world, so it wasn't too bad, but with these kind of tyres that I was dealing with that are very sort of browned and in bad condition, using something that was more of a satin finish just really wasn't going to cut it for me. So I went with something a little bit more heavy duty. And what's cool as well is that you can use this on the trim. So it does have this rear bumper that is plastic, and it is in horrendous condition. It's sort of really quite dull and stained in a way. So I went over the car with that as well. So it's a gel, so it is a little bit more difficult to spread because it's quite a thick consistency, but as you can see, once it had been worked in, I was pretty happy with the finish it left behind. I'm not entirely sure how long this will last. It's the first time that I've used it on the trim, but it did complete the overall look. I wouldn't have been happy leaving this bit sort of undressed, because I do think that this bumper just effectively ruined the look of the car when it's clean, so just worth kind of spending an extra couple of minutes doing this step. And then finally, I just gave the glass a once over using the Pyramid Car Care glass cleaner. So like I said, it's a pretty warm day when I did this, and this one's one of the slower ones I've tried to flash off, so it was quite a good one to use in the hot weather. So now you can see the finished result, and I hope you'll agree that there was a pretty decent improvement there. The owner was certainly happy with the finish, and so was I. So I hope you did enjoy the vehicle transformation. What I wanted just to do now was provide a little bit more information about these products and kind of give a little bit more info on how they performed. So as I said at the start of the video, they did very, very kindly send these for free, but as always, I'm just going to provide my kind of honest thoughts and feedback for you guys watching, and also for the brand themselves if they want to kind of take that on board. So starting off with the pre-wash, I thought that overall this performed very solidly. I think my only really sort of criticisms of it, firstly, I wasn't a fan that it's called a non-caustic TFR and wax. I think it is a little bit confusing. Personally, as a pre-wash, I don't see why it would involve a wax. How much of a wax it has in there, I'm not entirely sure. But for me, I'd prefer it if it was just sort of a pure kind of cleaning product and didn't have any kind of waxes in there. I think in terms of concentration, I think it did a solid job at removing some of the traffic film. Could it have been more potent and removed more? I think, yeah. However, I'm not a manufacturer, I'm not a chemist, so I don't know what the max sort of concentration is before it starts becoming unsafe. Maybe this is as sort of concentrated as it gets, I'm not sure. Maybe I could have increased the concentration of it in the bottle. Like I said, I used a 1 in 10. But again, this is what it recommends, so I didn't want to kind of go and stray from that just in case it wasn't safe. But if it is and you can go higher, then that would be great to sort of see on the label. Like I said, I'm not entirely sure. I thought overall it performed very, very solidly. But yeah, as I said, those are sort of just a couple of comments that I've got on them. So next is the shampoo, and I thought this performed really, really well. Great level of sort of slickness and suds. Good dilution ratio, no arguing with that. That 1 to sort of 2,000 ratio is really, really good. The only criticism, if it had a slight more stronger scent, so it really came through when you were washing it, but I've got Simple Wax Suds sort of somewhere behind here that doesn't have a scent whatsoever, and I really like that one, so it'd be harsh to kind of criticise it based on that, but I thought this performed really, really solidly, and also it's pretty cheap as well, so I did really enjoy using this one. And finally, we've got the Easy Bead Drying Aid. So this did exactly what it said it'd do. It made drying the car a lot easier, and it was a car with no protection. I thought the level of protection it left behind, based on it having none whatsoever to start with, was pretty impressive. I've tried spray rinse sealants that are a bit more reactive and have a little bit more protection. The only criticism I'd say with that is that this offers sort of 2 to 4 weeks protection, it says, and the water behaviour is good, but not outstanding. However, it's a drying aid, it doesn't market itself as a sort of protection product in itself, so I think it's probably again harsh to kind of criticise it on that. I think it performed solidly, did a good job, and there's not too much more to say about that. Yeah, but overall it did really well. So I hope you have enjoyed this video, enjoyed seeing the vehicle transformation, and definitely check out these guys. I'll leave a link to their website in the description and their Instagram too. So if you have enjoyed the video, it'd be brilliant if you could give it a like. Comment down below if you've got any questions about the process or any of the products that I've used. And if you're not subscribed already, subscribe for weekly detailing videos. And thanks very much again. I'll see you next time.